Yo, what's good with you? Back in black with another Call of Duty video. If you guys are new to the channel and you love shooting games just like me, make sure you aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button as well. It'll help you find better teammates and it'll improve your skill-based matchmaking. Anyways, the reason I bring you guys here today to this video in particular is because I wanted to talk to you guys about this new third person, well I guess I shouldn't say brand new, but I wanted to talk to you guys about this third person mode that has been implemented into the Modern Warfare 2 beta. And the reason is because it's one of the few ways that I feel like they're actually tapping into the roots of Call of Duty and trying to bring us some actual nostalgia. The reason I say that is because the only other game that featured this third person mode was the original Modern Warfare 2 back in 2009. So, you know, it kind of behooves me sometimes where they can, you know, tap into their old roots and do stuff like this, but they didn't want to do anything with the UI that was nostalgic. Yet, you know, they hired a bunch of Hulu developers to make us look at a bunch of squares and scroll to the side all day. But that's neither here nor there. I'm getting off on a tangent. In my opinion, changing the camera to a third person point of view adds a nice change of pace or a change of flavor to your gameplay, especially when you consider the fact that you can use this, whether it be for aesthetic appeal, and you can really absorb the graphics engine and enjoy the wind fluttering and moving your character's clothes about. I mean, that's nice for, I guess, you know, aesthetics or whatever, but as far as gameplay is concerned, people fundamentally play the game differently when it comes to a third person point of view. The reason is because you can always look around the next corner that you're moving to, and that may either make you play more tactically, or I guess the nice thing about Call of Duty is that people are already used to running around anyways. So it's like, yeah, the game is played in third person and you would think people would move slower and more tactical, but you can still have fun, fast-paced gameplay with people running around. And that's very reminiscent of playing Gears of War for any of you old-time FPS fans out there. And for anybody who does remember that game, you would know that Gears of War used to be one of the top 3 shooting games at one point. So recreating that pace and like speed of gameplay that you are looking at right now is, I guess, a nice way to reinvigorate fans of that franchise who will inevitably come over and play Call of Duty anyways, because it's one of the few remaining FPS games left that can draw a huge crowd and keep it for a elongated amount of time, even though they are losing a lot of players over the last 2 years. But that's neither here nor there. This game will surely right those wins, if you will. Another component of the third person mode that I really wanted to show some appreciation for was the retention of Call of Duty's true and fantastic gunplay. The way that this has been retained through the third person mode is through a really smooth and crisp camera pan that zooms in the first person mode every time you pull the trigger to aim down sight for your weapon. The reason I'm a big fan of this is because aiming usually feels very wonky in third person shooters, and you feel more so connected with your character than you do with your gun, and Call of Duty has always been more so towards the opposite in my personal opinion. I will say I do have one small little critique about the way the aiming works in this third person mode, but I'll save that for a little later in the video. Overall, I am a big fan of how smooth the transition is in the camera panning and whatnot when it comes to aiming. Top notch there. In conjunction with the smooth transition of the camera into the first person aiming, they also give you the ability to swap shoulders with the camera as well, which I think is a standard feature in most third person shooter games by now, but correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, I don't think that was a feature in the original Modern Warfare 2 third person mode. So you were kind of stuck just looking over your right shoulder all the time, which was really bad. It kind of just forced everybody to, like, you know, peek corners on the left side, looking to the right, or if I don't know if I said that correctly. I'm kind of smacked right now, but neither here nor there. The point is you can change the camera angle to suit which corner you are peeking on right now, which is very fundamental and very useful as well. So you know how they added parkour to the game, right? Well, parkour has always been in the game, but they added the wall climbing or hanging off a ledge or mantling or whatever you want to call it. I think the third person mode would be a really good opportunity to explore the like parkouring aspects of Modern Warfare. If they said they're going to make like certain maps that are catered to having a lot of verticality and people being able to jump between buildings and hang off of ledges and shoot people with pistols, what better mode to be able to, you know, actually do that type of gameplay in than the third person mode? It would basically be like playing Mirror's Edge but with guns, which, you know, I think is a, I don't know, I mean, I doubt any developers are going to watch this video, but if they do and they hear this and they could like tap into that, I think this third person mode could really take off and offer a unique kind of gameplay that, you know, a certain niche of players could go for. Which, you know, if Call of Duty is trying to be that you know, all around kind of game that caters to everything and has a game mode for everything, then yeah, I don't know, you know, movement, tapping into that movement aspect of the game would be really good in the third person mode. And the way the characters like flow and the animations and how they run, you can look right now and it looks very smooth and very realistic. Everything looks really good, so why not, you know, turn it into a movement shooter if you're going to play third person mode. At this point, I am going to transition into the things that I don't really enjoy or like about the third person mode, or I guess you could say the cons. It's nothing huge or nothing that's like a, you know, really big slight against the game or the mode in general, but the same way I do appreciate being able to swap shoulders with the camera, I will say it's a little finicky sometimes, especially when you swap from the right side to the left. The left side looks like it's only ever so slightly moving to the left, and it's like, if you're gonna let me like swap shoulders, at least give me a good view on the other side. Or at that point, you might as well not let me do it, because I might as well keep it on the right side more often than not. It's only slightly useful to swap shoulders. So I don't know, let me know down in the comments how often you swap shoulders and how useful you find it to be. I do appreciate the option being there, but I feel like they could work on the camera angling a little bit and make that just slightly better. And that's just me personally speaking though. That's my personal experience playing it. The other thing is that I wanted to talk about is that while I do also appreciate the smooth camera transition into the first person view when you are aiming down sights, considering the high speed movement of the gameplay and how fast it is in general, I would sometimes like to be able to do like a smaller zoom into a tighter cone, if that makes any sense. You know, the same thing that I was complaining about earlier, saying that that would be the only thing that third person modes would do, like games like SOCOM where you just tighten the cone and you don't really get a first person view sometimes or all the time. Yeah, I would actually like to be able to have the option to be able to do both. Or maybe if I put iron sights on the gun, it just tightens the cone on the gun. Or maybe if I just click the right stick, I could I don't know, if I click the right stick, maybe I could transition from a tighter cone to a first person view of the aim. Basically, just give me the option to do one or the other, because the gameplay is so fast that sometimes it would be more beneficial to just have a tighter cone instead of actually moving into a first person view, which is very fast and very smooth, again, I will admit, but just for the sake of gameplay and speed and having the fastest reaction time, maybe a tighter cone would be better in certain situations. So that's my take on that. The only other thing that I guess this is just me being a cynic, but I don't think the third person mode was like ever updated or worked on in the original Modern Warfare 2. Granted, that was a time where, you know, updates didn't really come out that much, because, you know, that just wasn't where gaming was at that point in time. You kind of just released the game and it was finished, and that was kind of it, and maybe an update here or there, but yeah. So I don't know, maybe now, since everything is updated all the time, we'll get a lot of updates to the third person mode. But the cynical me and how they treat Call of Duty generally speaking says like they're just going to release the third person mode and kind of just leave it how it is and not work on the camera angling or do any significant updates to make it more enjoyable or more fun of a mode, if that makes any sense. And the other part of me that is being very cynical when I say anything about this is that I feel like the only reason that they even implemented the third person mode anyways is just because it's just another excuse to sell as many skins as possible, which I know they were going to sell skins regardless. And back in the past, it wasn't even a big deal because skins were mostly just relegated to being camos on guns. But since, you know, we're in the bundle phase now and everything is a whole operator pack. Oh, you see your whole character, buy this whole bundle, $25, $50. Like, I don't know. So in a sense, it's like, yeah, the third person mode, it actually gives the skins reasons to be skins. And it's like, if you're going to have operators in the game, we might as well have a game mode where we can actually see that operator and see the whole character and actually see the rainbow tracers and freaking pink pony outfits running around, because you know it's going to happen eventually. And unfortunately, for the time being, they're keeping it realistic though, so I'll just enjoy it for what it is. And whenever they release a cool operator, I may or may not buy one. I don't know. I don't even know if I'm going to spend like extra money on this game. It's already $100, so I don't know. Let me know what you guys think about that. Like, why do you think the third person mode was implemented? Do you think they were really just trying to like hone in on the nostalgia, or do you think they just put the third person mode in because they're like, well, we gotta give them some kind of reason to buy more skins. Let's give them a mode where they can actually see the whole operator, which they really should have been did that, but neither here nor there. That's just my take on it. Overall, I am a big fan of the third person mode in general. I do want to know what you guys think about it down in the comments. Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to aim for that like button and shoot that subscribe button. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a lovely day. Black guy out.